you guys do. And then all of a sudden it starts to replenish. You know, it goes from, you know, you're gonna do patrols one day walking your dog, and then you are, and then you are, and then next thing you know, it's just kinda, you know. It's the same thing with alarms. If people would just actually use their alarms, then instead of, they get the alarm, and then all of a sudden the alarm a year later becomes a nuisance. Well, let's bypass this, and let's bypass that, and then, well, hey, did we turn the alarm off last night? I don't remember. We haven't turned it on all week. You get what I'm saying? A lot of people do that. You gotta use them. The more we use them, the better we know. So to answer your question, there's numerous things. Number one, don't answer your door. You don't have to. You don't have to. The other thing too is, if
Wait, are
you're
you
that,
saying don't say anything?
oh, you can. You can ask who's there, you know, while you're looking at them through a window or the peephole or this and that.
Okay, because my specific experience was knock burglars. Knocked. I happened to not be there and came home while they were trying to get into my house.
That's so scary.
So I saw it because I am a little bit observant. And I, instead of going into my house, turned and went out my back gate where my neighbor was standing with a camera because he just took a photo of the people jumping over my fence to get out of my yard because I scared them away.
Did you call 911 first on that phone?
He didn't, but I did as soon as I saw him standing there. I was like, ding, ding, ding. So they were there 5 minutes later. It's people who've been doing this in our neighborhood for 3 freaking months, and they are getting in. So just
Well, I'll tell you how a lot of them do get in. Number one is they hire young kids to come through and pose as the Kirby vacuum salesman or the spot remover people and all that. And the kids, they have no clue. They're getting paid crap money to go about, and all they're doing is getting to case these houses. That's all they're doing. They always want to come in your home and get the spot off of your carpet in your living room, and oh my God, can I see your bedroom? I can show you something with a vacuum on the aspect of how much bed bugs you actually do have, even how clean this house is. And I know people that are like, oh yeah, man, they showed me all this black stuff they pulled out, and I'm like, it's their vacuum. They can set it up any way they want. The stain remover people, oh, you got a stain in your driveway. Let me show you how to get it out, this and that. It's something as simple as that the kids or the young adults have no idea that what they're really being trained to is to figure out who's answering the door, who's there, and that list. Well, do you mind if I come by when your husband's here? Yes. What time will that be? You notice all those they want to ask that question. They have it figured out to a science. The times. Oh, is that your little boy? Or are you babysitting? Or, you get what I mean? It's the way they ask, and they're getting information out of you. I teach my students all the time, which Karen in the back there watching you guys is one of ours who wanted to come today. We teach them all the time to do the reverse on people to show how easy it is to get information out of somebody. And it's scary. My biggest thing is at the gas pump. Just start a conversation with somebody and see how much information you can get. Nice car, great car. You know what time it is? Man, if I go down here, is there McDonald's? And all of a sudden, hey, thank you, Paul. Thanks, Paul. Look at all the information you got out of him. That's his car. He knows that direction, so he lives around here. I got his first name. I got his driver's license, or his license plate off his car. A lot of it. And all he's thinking is, God, that guy's kind of weird, asking me a lot of things. But what did he do? He gave up a lot of information also. They also watch cars. All those stupid stickers all of us put on the back of our cars, my kitty and my kid and this and that. My kid's a softball, there's softball stickers on my car. But it's real easy for somebody to say, hey, is this your ball? Or do you have a black cat? Yes. Well, I think I hit it. What's going to happen? You're going to go outside. You know what I mean? Watching your kid ride a bike, it's real easy. Hey, do you have a red bike, or does your son have a red bike? Yes. Well, I think there's a guy over here that's taking it out of your yard. You're not even thinking that it's locked up in the garage. You're just hearing because of what you already know. So it's those type of things to watch out for. Now, as far as actually somebody doing something while you're there, the biggest thing I can tell you is do not go to get your kids and then to go somewhere else. Wherever they're at, go there. In other words, if they're in their room, don't get them out of the room and then go to your room somewhere else. No, go to their room and stay there. Wherever they're at, stay where they're at. Doesn't mean like an open area, like if this was your living room, you stay in your living room. No. What I'm getting at is if they're asleep, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and they're in their bedrooms, and you hear the noise, Don't go get them and then bring them back to your room. Stay in there. Stay in there. Hence why I'm a big advocate of keeping some type of a tool or something in their room that they can't reach or get to, so I can have. The reason being is the time that you think you have to get to them to come out, you don't know if they're already in the house. You don't know if the noise you heard is the lookout or somebody else doing something and they're already in your home. And you're giving them a chance to see that you came out and they can go back in and wait. It's the same thing with you women, and I say women because the majority, how many times she ever woke you up and told you there's a noise going on? And you actually kind of go look.
Maybe never, maybe once.
Well, you're lucky. You know, the majority of people hear something and they're like, honey, there's a noise, wake up. And where do you stay? You stay in the bed while they go out. Get up. Two can do a lot better damage than one. You know, I'm not saying you have to be Mr. and Mrs. Smith or anything, but my point is if you heard it and he didn't, and he's kind of groggy and everything else, how do you think he's going to be searching your house? Groggy. If you're up and alert, help him out. You know. And the other thing too is people forget we have light switches in our home. Use them. Turn them on. We don't have to walk around, you know, with the flashlight and look around. The only reason we advocate that is because we know the home better than they do. They're the first time in our home. We know all the little corners and this and that. But with that said, we also have to check things that because we know our home that we might not check. Well, I'm not going to check that bathroom because there's no window in that bathroom. What does that have anything to do about a hiding spot? You get what I'm saying? Well, I don't need to check that. That's a linen closet. It's very small. If I'm hiding, I'm going to make myself small. You get what I'm saying? Now, as far as coming on to something that's going on at your house, the best thing you did is what you did. Get away from it. You don't have to go. Your idiot neighbor should have called 911 instead of worrying about what YouTube video you're going to show on. What's happening in my neighborhood? Look, I filmed it. I'm tired of that. You know, need to do something in a sense of call. You can film and call at the same time, even. You know, and the other thing is him standing there is also risking his own life or what they're doing because of what he's showing them he's doing.
Right.
You know, hence why. My wife came home one day and the front door was wide open. And it's like I told her, just get back in the car and go away. Call the cops, tell them what your husband did, and they will show up fast. You know, that's the other thing. If you do have firearms in your house, mention that when you call 911. They show up a lot faster knowing that there's a loose gun in the house somewhere, even if it's locked up, because they want to know that they can get there and get there fast.
So if you have an alarm, what are the odds that you're in better shape?
Depends on if you use it.
If you use it.
A lot, because they don't like loud
So
noises.
they'll hear it and they're gone.
Well, it's not necessarily they're gone. What happens is how many times we walk through a parking lot and heard a car alarm go off? Do any of us go, what happened? What's going on over there? No, we go, we walk right by it.
Yeah.
We don't even pay any mind to it. Think about that. All they are nowadays is a lock. That's all we use it for. Blip, blip. We lock the car. Nobody takes their key and locks the door anymore. We use that.
All right.
We don't even check to actually see if it's even doing anything. It took me a month to realize my side door wasn't even being locked ever. And I was like, okay, gotta check that. No, it doesn't work because the kids hit the child safe lock on it. But what happens is when the alarm goes off, we are so fast to go and punch the code in and turn it off. Leave it on. Let the noise and everything annoy the neighbors. Let neighbors' lights turn on. Let everything go on and search the house with that thing going off. We so much want to leave it and turn it off when it goes off. And it's like, why? The whole idea is to let that siren do its job. If it goes off for 1 minute and we're over there punching the code to turn it off, what did it do? And what people don't realize, and I'm going to use a word that some people might not understand, terrorists do a lot of things to see what the response time is. They'll do acts and things like that to see what the response time is. Burglars do the same thing. They'll do certain things and wait to see how long it took for somebody to show up, or a light to go on, or how long an alarm took to turn off, and hence why I say, leave it on. Search the entire house. Make your neighbor come up to you and go, what's with the alarm going off all the time? Well, hey, I'm searching my house to make sure it's done. Don't you have an off button on that thing? Yeah, I do. It goes off. Who cares? He has nothing to do with your safety. You know, everybody wants to look at it like we're all so paranoid to do things that are going to piss off somebody else. I don't care. They can be pissed off all they want. Guess what? I'm okay, I'm alive, I'm going home, I can go somewhere like this. You get what I'm saying? Don't let somebody else, because they're annoyed, make you change your mind of what you're going to do. You know, it's like Mike mentioned the flashlight thing. Sounds like you have a flashlight in every room. You got one in your purse?
No, I don't.
Put one in your purse.
I know.
You know?
I don't have one in this place.
Flashlights are great. They're one of my favorite tools of the trade.
This is how simple it is, right there.
Yeah.
That's how simple it is to have a flashlight with you.
And what's the first thing you do when you shine that? You shut your eyes. That split second, you can run, you can move, whatever. If that was you pointing in somebody else's eyes, ask her. She
Yeah.
knows.
I think I gave some away.
She gave some for Christmas. I mean, it's the holidays.
Just to let you know, we didn't carry these just tonight. We carry these all the time. Because you never know when you're gonna need a flashlight. Broad daylight, you might need a flashlight. You know, one thing I'd like to touch on with what you were talking about, you know, everything happened when you weren't there anyway.
It did, but that's not to say there haven't been a lot of people knocking lately.
Well, what I'm saying is that, you know, the alarm systems now are really getting to be state of the art. I mean, they have ones you can even install yourself, and you can get your phone and see what's going on in your home.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's a lot of things to do. If you're having a lot of problems in this neighborhood, has anybody gone to the police and say, we want extra patrol in our neighborhood?
Yeah, they're aware of it. They even know.
No, that's not what I asked you.
Well,
Did
they
anybody
do.
say, we want extra patrols in our neighborhood?
Yes, and
Okay,
we're
good.
also close to a high school, so it's LAPD and
And the school police.
LAUSD PD.
And see, and that's a good thing, because you can tell them, we want some extra patrol here. And, you know, don't depend on them just think, well, they know there's a lot of crime going on, they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
No, I wanna talk to the watch commander, you know, what are you guys doing here? Ask
Yeah.
them what they're doing.
Well, I take it a step further because I'm paranoid. But like, even if we have somebody come into the house to do work and I'm the person home when they're working in or around my house, in their presence, well, I ask for ID before I open the door, and in their presence, I dial my husband and say very loudly, "Hi, they're here. Did you need me to say, you'll be home? Okay."
Well, first thing I want to commend you on is you do something that nobody does, not even on the work site, that they should do, and you ask to see their IDs. That's
Well, because
fantastic.
I'm paranoid.
Well, it's not that you're being paranoid, it's that you're being safe. That's all it is. A good example of that. If something happens to your house, you have, let's say on a work site at your house, you have how many people?
My
Roughly.
house is this big, 2, 3
Okay,
people
so you got
top.
3 people on your house. You know crap about them.
Yeah.
But because you asked to see their ID and everything else, now if something has gone wrong or something close to being wrong at your house, you have an officer that you can say, I have these 3 people that you might want to talk to. You know, and if they say, well, how did you get that? Well, they're the only ones that have worked on my house, and I know, and you can do this each and every day and drive them crazy. When you look at the ID one day, look at their full name. The next day, look at their full name and then their address. When you look at it the next day, their full name, their address, and then anything else that comes up on it. You know? Now, I'm just going to say this. Most of the Hispanic people out there working and everything else, they're all going to be from Pico area and Los Angeles area and everything else. Your Middle Easterns or IDs are going to come from Canada and things like that because we see them all the time. It's kind of a joke. I ask them all the time, do you guys buy these at the same place or what? You know, it's a joke because identity theft is huge, you know, and they actually use real IDs, you know, for it. But you're doing a good thing, and some of you should take a lesson from that because if something does happen, you at least have something to give them. You know, your barbecue got stolen, they go over to Pedro's house and he's got the same barbecue for some reason at his house. Kind of makes them go, You get what I'm saying? Same thing with the work that goes on. You can do certain things when people come over to your house to work to test them out to see how honest they are. I do it all the time, especially with mechanics. Mechanics will rip you off in a minute. You know, but the house, we seem to, it's funny, you know, hey, there's a guy in your backyard. It's just a pool guy. There's another guy in your front yard. It's the yard guy. Well, there's somebody walking over your dog. It's the dog guy. You get what I'm saying? For some reason, we open up our lives to a lot of people we don't really think anything of other than, well, that's just Paul. He does my pool, he does the neighbor's pool and all that. Yeah, but what else is Paul doing?
I want to ask you a question, but I'll also just say, because you were giving 2 examples of like roses and then people who are afraid of everything. I'm always Candyland, like I love everybody. My husband says I'm like just too nice. And our nanny of 2.5 years, who I adored, I got a call from Wells Fargo
Adored.
Bank. I love her. Yeah, I really did adore her. I get a call from Wells Fargo Bank 3 months ago. That's the last time I saw her too. That someone had taken my credit card. She was in my house when they called. And we had been moving, we'd been redoing a house, we had just bought a house, and we'd been spending more money than we ever had, because we had to go to Lowe's, we had to go to this, whatever. I had kind of been burying my head in the sand, not wanting to check the bills, because it was a lot. And anyway, it turned out she had taken my credit card out of my wallet, and she had spent $19,000. And I actually am now dealing with the the Sheriff's Department, the PD, because Wells Fargo, I didn't actually press charges against her because I'm screwed up and I still care about her because I knew her for 2.5, and it's like, my point was you can't believe it. Like, she had my kid, I loved her, like I would breastfeed, give her the baby in the middle of the night, like we were friends, like she was in my life.
Do you remember that word I used
earlier? And now she's on the run
earlier?
from the law. What?
You remember that word I used earlier?
What?
Opportunity?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, but this is what I wanted to add, like, so that was like, I just want to like, because I was totally duped. My issue right now is I've done this new thing, I'm trying to lose the baby weight, because I have 2 little kids, and one is 1 year old and one's 3. So I'm trying to get rid of the 1-year-old baby weight, and I've been walking all the time, right? My husband's like, join a gym, don't walk. I'm like, I'm walking in broad daylight, and I've been, like, yesterday and the day before yesterday, I was scared out of my mind, 9:30 in the morning, because I was approached, first by a Hispanic guy, second by a black. It sounds like I'm being racist, I'm just giving you what happened. I live adjacent to Beverly Hills in this little pocket called Carthay Square. It's a really pretty neighborhood. I like walking in it, and I walk from like Carthay through Beverly Hills, like to the other side and back. It's like 2 miles each way. And 2 days ago, I'm walking at 9:30 in the morning. It's bright and sunny, and I'm on like inside the streets and whatever. And I decided to go onto Wilshire, which was stupid because it's Saturday morning and everything's closed. And I just decided to walk like a strip of that, and all the businesses were closed. It's by like the Audi dealership, whatever. And this guy starts walking towards me, and I realize that like normally someone would like take their side of the sidewalk, and he's like really walking into my space, and then he scared me so much. He's like, oh, he goes, you don't say hello, like right up in my face, and I was like, I go, hi, like that, and I'm like, I'm an idiot, like I just looked so scared, you know? And then he threw his backpack down. I don't know, he did not look like he was from where we were. He's like, I'm talking to you. And I was like, oh my God, I'm on foot. I don't have a car. My husband is 2 miles away. I don't have my phone on me. I have a key. What am I gonna do? And so I start walking. And I'm like, is it rude if I start running? Like, and I'm thinking, is it rude to him? You know? So I don't run because I don't want to offend him. So I'm walking. And then I turn on to like the side, like into this like Lapeer or wherever I was, and I was like, I'm now walking home, so he could basically like know where I live. And I like thought it was even rude, so I'm like looking in the windows to see if he's following me, and like he was for a little bit, and then thank God people like in front of their houses, and I'm thinking, this is insane. This is like Beverly Hills, sunny Saturday morning, and I'm terrified. And I make it home, my husband's like, you're an idiot. He's like, I tell you to join a gym. I'm like, I can't walk? And then the next day I did it again. And I just like, I'm walking, I'm going to walk until it was Sunday, and I'm walking, and something very, very similar happened, except this time he wasn't Hispanic, he's black. And like, I don't want to be that person. I like everybody. I do. Like, I don't have that. But now he's it was terrible. And now I'm afraid to walk. And I'm usually, by the way, walking with my 1-year-old or with my double stroller with my 3-year-old and 1-year-old. And I walk with them every day.
There's nothing wrong with anything you described at all. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with walking. There's nothing wrong with whether you want to call it racially profiling or just profiling, period, okay? There's enough bad white people out there as there is enough bad black people.
What do? I feel like I can't walk.
And you're proving something that you already know. It does not matter where your area is. If you're familiar with Beverly Hills, you know the Peninsula Hotel?
Yeah, I love that place.
Okay, I do security work there all the time. Hence what I just said. I do security work there all the time. You've been in there? You know what kind of hotel it
there
is.
for when we got married, yeah.
Okay.
He's saying go to Peninsula.
No, he's not.
What's that?
He's
I
saying-
said, you were saying go to the peninsula. You're close to, if you're in Beverly Hills, you're close enough to security that if you're really freaked out, scream. Scream
Is that what you were trying to
loudly.
say?
No, what I'm trying
I
to
thought you were trying
say
to
is
say there's
that
crime
it
there.
does not matter where you're at, what you do, where you think the best places are and all that. If you really think about it, okay, if you've been to the peninsula, you know it's a gorgeous place. I mean, you shouldn't have to worry about anything in it. Why do they have security in there? Because it doesn't matter where you're at.
Yeah.
People do things. People.
So what do you do?
It's,
I can't even walk. Like,
no,
I can't.
you sure you can. But this is what you have to do. You have to build up the confidence for yourself first. You can't be worried about one thing you said, which I'm gonna kind of frown on. You said, "Is it rude?" It's not rude to stay alive. It's not rude to stay alive at all.
And
Okay?
you know, it sounded like you were more concerned with not being rude to this guy than looking out for your
Like,
safety.
totally, 100%.
Yeah, we talked in the last class about like, you know, you're in Target and there was some creepy lady walking through the
Yeah.
parking lot asking people for money, and you're still walking towards your car. You know, why not? No, not you. I'm just saying like people.
Yeah.
And it's like, why don't I be rude? I want to go to my car, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
why don't we turn around and go back in the store? You know, or my situation, he alluded to my story. I was in Starbucks. I mean, you're a confident. I know you. You're a confident
Yeah.
person. I'm a confident person. But I was in Starbucks. There's this creepy guy that walked in. He kind of just looked like average Joe, and I didn't really think much about it. And I do actually like scan the room. I'm constantly scanning. And he kind of smiled at me and the kids, and I was like, ugh, right?
Yeah.
He walked up to our little table, and I had one girl here, and I sat them there like on purpose because I thought, oh, I could sit. For me, that was the safest way to have them, you know, because I could put two of them here, but then I feel like
Yeah, out
one was
of
too
reach,
far
yeah.
for me, right? So I put them like this, and that was even before I saw him. He came all the way up to the table and leaned up against the table, and he's like, "Your children he was like, are these your girls?" And I was like, "Yes." And he's like, "They're beautiful." And I was like, "Thank you." And then I was like, "Girls, why don't we just like finish?" And he kept standing there, and I didn't want to be rude, you know. And what Robert was saying is like, "Well, were you drinking coffee and water or whatever?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Why didn't you just go like tip it?" Go, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and it would have gone like all over his pants, you know.
He's gonna move.
He's gonna move. And then you could say, "Excuse me, this man's bothering me." And for the safe, I know it's so creepy, but you know what? At the end of the day, if he wasn't creepy, or if he was just being a nice old man, you have to listen to your gut. And my gut was like, this guy's not a good person.
I know. I need this class.
Why did you go like that? You know,
'Cause we're
see,
taught,
This is where the mindset thing comes around.
I
We
think
really
it's
got
part
to
of like
start
our
turning things
upbringing,
around.
like you be nice to people.
If
you
somebody
be nice
calls
to
you
There's
on the
strangers.
nothing wrong with that.
And
There's
they
nothing
say,
wrong with that. The
what's your
problem
name?
is society's changed.
What?
Kathy.
Hey, Kathy, how are you doing today? What are you gonna do? Who's this? If I don't know who it is, who's this? Somebody comes to my door. Hey, how you doing today, sir? First thing I'm like, what do you want? You know, I didn't invite this guy to my home. If I need a service, I know where to find it, don't you? You need somebody knocking on your door trying to sell you something? What do you want?
Yeah.
You know?
There's something wrong with
And you don't have to worry about being
No, there
rude, because you know
isn't.
No, there
something?
is something wrong with
Maybe
it.
I was-
Even when I knew she stole $19,000 and I went to Wells Fargo and they went on the case and they were nice, but they only gave me back a certain amount, which was still nice of them. They're like, "Do you want to press charges?" I'm like, "No, I don't want to do that to her."
Is she
My
still
husband's-
adorable to you?
No, my husband's
you
like,
go.
my husband's like, "How can you not press charges? She's such a loser. Look what she did to you." I'm like, "I can't do that to her," you know. And then Wells Fargo press charges, but like that's where I go. Like I'm, you know.
All,
Did
you
you
said
ever
your name's Kathy?
did you ever think that
Kathy,
maybe
Kathy,
she was
all you have is you've lived a life where you haven't had to deal with any of that. So all of a sudden, bam, you got something right off the bat. Don't feel bad. I mean, at least you're saying it openly and getting it out now, as opposed to not doing anything about it. Even talking about it is doing something about it. Okay, husbands, we all have the one mentality: stop, don't do it, don't go there, don't eat
Yeah.
it, don't buy it.
He's scared of he's like super, like he sees everything as like, what is that? Who is that? Who is that? You
He's
know?
also an attorney. Like he's got
Yeah.
that mindset.
Well,
yeah.
there's a difference between being rude to somebody and looking out for your own interests.
Yeah, no, I
Okay.
need this.
You know, she might have been a really decent person, but she did something pretty dastardly to you.
Yeah. no,
And because of that, because of taking advantage of your trust, you know, you gotta start thinking, what does she really have coming? you know? And if I let her get away with this, you know, if I don't do everything I can to say, you know, what you did was wrong, and pay some consequence.
I'm afraid
You know-
like her boyfriend who's not legal is gonna come and like try to like hurt me in my house because they know where I live and everything like that.
But listen to what you're talking about. Now you're letting somebody control
Yeah.
how
You're
you
living-
think,
you're
what
living
you
in
do, down to your thinking of the cousins and whoever family members and all that. When it all comes down to one thing, you had somebody take $19,000 to get the hell out of your life.
Did
There
you
you
do
go.
any kind of background check on this person?
No.
Okay, that's a very simple thing to do. It costs
Ridiculous.
her-
And she was
it
with
will-
my
I tell you
kids.
what, you do a background check on her, it would have cost less than $19,000.
Oh, yeah. Her sister works for a friend of mine for like 10 years. So I was like, oh, I know her sister. Her sister's been with this friend for a long time. It's fine, you know.
So
Remember
you
the
learn-
word I
You learn
said,
the lesson, so you know you gotta
opportunity.
change that
Not-
mindset. You gotta change how you do things. And it's not a bad thing to change. Change is, we shouldn't be afraid of changing things. You know, it's all layers, okay? You're right here. You gotta start building and building your confidence, building the way you conduct yourself, the way you're aware of your environment.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a cool thing to do. It's kind of fun, you know? And the
It
more
is.
you do this, the more confidence you'll have. And I bet you next nanny ain't gonna rip you off for $19,000. You know, because you'll be looking at things differently, you know? And next time a guy comes up to you, you know, people hit me up in parking lots all the time. And I know there's kind of a difference, you know, they'll come up to me, and I know there's a difference between you and me. You know, somebody's gonna look at you, and they're gonna look at me, you're the target, not me, okay? You know, somebody come up to me, and I'm walking through, they say something, I just look at them, keep going, I don't talk to them, you know? Why do I owe this guy even a hello?
Yeah.
And some people think, well, that's kind of rude. You know, this guy is approaching me.
Yeah.
He's encroaching on me. I'm not going to give him anything. You know, I've had to work my way up too. I don't know where this guy went down the wrong fork in the road, but that's not my problem. You know,
We were,
and I don't know if
at
that's
the
all he's
beach
coming
on
up to me
Sunday,
for.
and we're with our two little kids, and this like Middle Eastern couple comes over and they go, "Can you watch our stuff? We're just gonna go in the ocean for like 20 minutes." Like, I go, "Of course, no problem." My husband's like, "What is wrong with you?" I go, "Why? They're going in the beach."
Can you
He's
take
like,
that back?
he goes, "You don't know them.
That's my bomb for me.
They're speaking some language you don't know, like, that's so racist." He's like, "But you don't know them," and they're saying like, "Can you watch our stuff?" He's like, "What's in the stuff? We don't," and I'm like, "Oh my God, I do not live like you," you know, and he's like, "I can't believe you just said yes." So he proceeds to like move all of us away.
Yeah.
He's like, "What the people could be in there," you know? And I was like, "Oh my God."
And you can just make any excuse, like, I'm sorry, we're gonna be leaving soon. And then even if you
I
don't
thought it would be
leave
so
soon-
rude to be like, "No, I can't
Yeah,
watch
but
So
it."
you use that rude word again.
But you gotta ask yourself, are you ever gonna see them again?
No.
Are they gonna sit there and go, God, that Kathy lady at the beach, you know?
Yeah.
She didn't watch our
I
stuff.
rude.
stayed by their stuff when they left. And they were fine. They were really nice. They said the water was too cold, so they came.
And start thinking out of the
In
box.
short, all of you probably have very good stories, very good scenarios. I like your question and what you wanted to know. The answer to it is, there's a lot. There's a lot to do. But the first step is exactly what you just did. You asked, and you took initiative to do something on your own. You know, our student in the back there, Karen, who's being very nice and quiet back there, Karen has been taking classes with us for almost a year. Her confidence level of everything that she does is completely different, and night and day difference than when we first met her. Completely different. Now, does it have to do with us? We like to think so, but that's the decision she had to make and put up with us and how we are. We're being very nice and polite in here. My point is that all of your wonders and ifs and efs and everything else, there is no right or wrong with it. What's the best advice for any of you in here? Get your confidence up. Whether it's doing something like this and listening to somebody talk or talking back to them or looking at a self-defense idea or anything else like that. When you start building up that confidence, it makes it so much easier to handle other situations that come about. And some of the tips and the tools and everything else that go along with it, after a while, is nothing. This man basically gave me everything that he does as a job and that he's not home from this lady, and he knew me for what? 2 minutes. Nothing bad. But you get what I'm saying? We are so quick to think of, I probably will never see him again. He could have told me he was a plumber and I'd have believed it, and he likes to